Alright big boys, welcome back to the channel. Powell may have just brought the bull run back in full effect with Bitcoin pushing up to 86,000 after today's FOMC meeting. Here are the main takeaways before we do dive into the charts. Number one, the interest rates haven't actually moved from the prior meeting. Number two, Powell mentioned that the recent tariffs from the Trump administration are currently leading to short-term inflation. However, it's expected to be transitory. Number three, looking forward to the future, there's still going to be 2 rate cuts forecasted for this year, which hasn't changed at all, but it is a doubling down on what's to expect for the rest of the year, moving into more quantitative easing, which is going to be expected to start to take place around about April time, with the Fed lowering its balance sheet from 25 billion to 5 billion, one massive step in the right direction for the end of the current quantitative tightening and a step in the direction towards QE. So moving into the charts, looking at Bitcoin on the higher time frames, like we've been talking about on the macro on this channel, this was the level we needed to hold. It's been a bit boring for the past week, but this is the level that we did hold. You can see we've got a nice bounce off from this resistance line, and this is probably where we're going to mark that macro bottom. Weekly stochastic RSI looking like it's ready to shoot through the roof, so I'm expecting much higher price targets in the next couple of weeks or so. Again, here's another way of looking at it. This previous resistance of the prior all-time high back in 2021, which we had some struggles getting over around the earlier half of last year, has now been flipped to support just like we predicted. It's going to be moving up from here. Lower time frames, Bitcoin has shot up after this meeting from 83.5 up to 86. Do be a little bit cautious on the daily time frame, as stochastic RSI is heading up to the upper bound right now, and we also do have some resistance coming around about 87.7 from when we fell to the downside of this bullish pennant. However, in my opinion, the most logical course is probably to push us back up to maybe 90, retest some of these levels, and then shoot up higher, just like we're expecting for in the macro time frame. All in all, for the next week, I think we should be heading up to 90, stalling out for a little bit, maybe over the weekend, filling a CME gap, and then I think it's kind of up from there. So those are the lower time frame levels to keep your eyes on. In the higher time frames, we've of course got 100k, 110k, which we stalled out from the new all-time high, and probably where I think we're going to tap out on around this cycle is probably going to be around about 140k. Obviously, remember, these price targets won't come tomorrow. Probably something like this is what I expect next. Moving on outside of Bitcoin, you can see the VIX has plummeted in the past week. Like we mentioned in our prior macro video, this is probably where the peak fear was coming in. Stochastic RSI on the weekly for the VIX is absolutely getting crushed right now. VIX down almost 8% on the daily time frame, and it probably has, in the higher time frames, a lot of ways to go back down, which means more room up for Bitcoin and equities. Over on the 2-year bonds, 2-year US bonds, almost down 2% today. Massive crash after the FOMC meeting. You can also see 10-year bonds taking a crash today, down almost 1%, which is quite a big move for bonds. Just before the FOMC meeting 2 days ago, we had an update on the insider transaction ratio, and this went down to an incredibly bullish level. Massive insider confidence in the markets right now. And as we can see over on the S&P 500, like we've relayed before, they don't always sell the exact top and buy the exact bottom, but this was a good sign from what we saw a couple of weeks ago that, the bottom was likely going to be in. And after this FOMC meeting, we saw another spike down into extremely bullish territory. So it's not too often you see these 2 double spikes back down into bullish territory on the corporate insider chart. So this is looking extremely bullish in my opinion. I think for the equities, they're probably going to head back up to all-time highs, and this chart looks a lot healthier than Bitcoin in the higher time frames, which has crashed quite a bit from 110k all the way down to about 75. So Bitcoin obviously more volatile than the S&P 500. Both of them are probably going to bounce pretty hard in the next coming weeks. Moving on to Solana, the Solana Seeker Mobile has just entered the testing phase, and shipping is expected to come this summer, right in line for Solana summer. So if you've pre-ordered one of these like myself, probably expect it in the next couple of months or so. Pretty excited for this. And I think the NFT that you're going to get with this phone is just going to keep on gifting. We told you to pre-order this when it first came out. I think off the top of my head, there's already been about $700 worth of airdrops on this pre-order alone since then. And I think picking up in Solana Summer, when you get the physical device with the new NFT on the phone, it's going to be an absolute game changer. More bullish Solana news. The first Solana ETFs are expected to launch in the US as soon as tomorrow. Do bear in mind these are futures ETFs, not a spot ETF, so while they won't have a direct impact on the price, they'll definitely have an indirect impact on the price. Solana moving up quite nicely today, up almost 7%. Pushing up after the news that the ETF is coming, and then pushing up further after we had the FOMC news. So everything looking good in the lower time frames. We have talked about this before on the channel, how we do think over here that the Solana spot ETF is going to be coming. I saw some Bloomberg forecasts, won't go into too many charts, but I think the likelihood of a Solana spot ETF coming this year has significantly increased. And like we mentioned, not a spot ETF, won't have a direct impact on the price, but that just adds further regulatory clarity and confidence to Solana. So definitely going to be seeing this move higher. Weekly time frame, like we've detailed before, Solana often has pretty brutal corrections, even when it is in a bull run. While we're on the log time right here, so these don't look super significant, do bear in mind, prior to this, we had a 47% drop. Over here, you can see Solana had about 61% crash to the downside. However, after these corrections, Solana almost always has these absolutely disgusting impulse expansions back to the upside. So wouldn't fade Solana now at $133. Weekly stochastic RSI absolutely bottomed, probably getting ready to skyrocket to our price target, which we detailed on the channel, around about $1,300. That's based on if Solana goes to Ethereum's previous market cap in the prior cycle. So absolute no-brainer in my opinion. Solana's got an easy 10x from here. Another way of looking at the macro for Solana is this chart over here. You can see this was previous resistance, major point that we struggled to get over, spent a lot of time trading around. I told you in prior videos, the longer we spend getting mushed between, this red box and this blue box, it's probably just going to end in a disgusting impulse right above it, pushing Solana above $300, no problem. And you can see as well, it's always these wicks to the downside where absolute fear comes, and your normie friends start talking to you about their Solana investment. That's probably when it's going to start pushing back to the upside. So in the short term for Solana, I don't really care too much about the lower time frame charts, but do have my eyes back on around about $300 prior all-time high. Once again, the macro 1.3. And in the lower time frames, things to keep your eyes on, things that I've got my eyes on at least. My 3 biggest holdings right now, obviously spot Solana, which is being staked. Number 2, Jupe, absolute no-brainer. If you want kind of like a safe play, investing in something which isn't a meme coin or a shit coin, something that's actually generating revenue and is going to be there for the long term. Jupe, extremely undervalued at this moment in time, in my opinion. Think it's just placed in a double bottom, backing the bottom from around about February of 2024. Think it's going to be an easy 2x for Jupe over the next month or so. They have had some recent, if you have your Jupe staked, they've had these recent proposals, which in my opinion, I've all voted no for because they seem quite shit. They just, I think a lot of people, the higher ups at Jupe, trying to, spend hundreds of millions in paying like 10 people's salaries so they can do some promotions and stuff. So I think that's where a lot of the unhappiness has been in the past few weeks or so. So hopefully they pattern that up. Hopefully people vote no on pretty much all of these proposals which are coming out, which sound cool on paper. We're going to give people some salaries and their Jupe is going to be held and staked for 1 year, blah, blah, blah. But it's just a massive siphon on the budget of Jupe, in my opinion. I think they've already got a great product. I don't think they need to spend $500 million in marketing for some shit. Like, I think vote no on the proposals, in my opinion. Vote whatever you want. I've voted no, but I think Jupe is undervalued at this point. Also, looking for something a little bit more risky, I think even if this doesn't work out, OR is an amazing risk to reward play right now, sitting just underneath $30. I think something like this will happen. I don't think it's going to have a problem going into the hundreds of dollars again. Again, you know, this is at a market cap of around about 7 million. But it's not to say that if this 10x's its market cap's actually going to be, you know, 70 million. I mean, the way a lot of these small market cap things work is if someone tries to put 100k in OR at this moment in time, the price is probably going to go to $100 and 3x also. So while, you know, it's not impossible to say that OR is going to go to like $1,000 or a couple $1,000, it doesn't mean the market cap's actually going to be as crazy as you think it is. So I think this is a really, really good play over here. And during my hiatus, didn't keep super updated with OR, but they've also got a max supply now of 5 million, kind of like the proposition of Bitcoin on Solana. So just think, if you want a risky play, if you want something that could do 100x this cycle, then, you know, maybe throw 1, 2, 3% of your chips into OR, see how it goes. But the major players that I've got most of my bags in are just Solana, sitting on that stake. Kind of done with all the shit coins, meme coins. Don't really see the value in that as much anymore. Most of them just get rugged after 20 minutes. So if you're staking Solana, that's your major bag. Maybe you've got 20% of your portfolio in dupe, stake that, vote on proposals, and then, you know, have a small punt in some meme coins, some shit coins, a small punt in OR. Definitely think that's a good bag that's going to set you up for some crazy gains in this cycle for Solana and Bitcoin. So that's pretty much it. Also, something that you guys keep on asking me to cover, some of you keep on asking me to cover, really don't give too much of a shit about it, but, you know, you keep on asking me about this KDA. I do think this is going to have a short-term pump. It looks like it has got a nice double bottom right now, and it does look like it's stabled out quite nice with the stock RSI around about 36 cents. And this looks like it's probably going to have a push to the upside. Now, don't get excited. I think while the rest of the markets run, I think it's possible that this probably goes up to $1, maybe $1.50, maybe $2, and everyone thinks it's back. But I think the most likely case for KDA is probably a triple top and then 0, or maybe $1 and then 0. So I have absolutely no confidence in this. I don't know why you keep on asking me to cover it. In my opinion, if you're looking for a good investment, it's Solana, it's not KDA. This project is a absolute flop. Never bought a single coin. Probably never will, but if you're looking for a trade, if you're looking to jump out of your terrible KDA bags round about $1 or $2 once this pumps up with the rest of the markets, then do what you want to do, not financial advice. But at least in the short term, hey, maybe this could have a pump and then probably 0. But that's my opinion anyway. That's all for today. Hope you enjoyed, big boys. There's the updates with the FOMC. There's the updates with the charts, what to expect next. Once again, daily time frame for some of these charts looking like it's stalling out a bit. So probably expect a little bit of turbulence around 87 to 90K. But in the much higher time frames, weekly, etc., I think it's kind of up only from here. And that's what we've been talking about on the channel for the past couple of weeks or so. So that's all for today. If you enjoyed, smash like on the way out, leave a comment, help with the algo. See you in the next one. Peace.